If you're over 60, there's a good chance that something sweet, juicy, and sitting in your fruit bowl right now is silently contributing to the slow fade of your memory. It doesn't cause a sudden, dramatic stroke. It's a quieter, more sinister thief. It works by creating tiny sparks of inflammation in your brain, by thickening your blood just enough to slow it down, or by secretly interacting with your vital medications. You go to bed feeling you've made a healthy choice, but day by day, that choice could be making it harder to find the right word, to remember a cherished name, or to hold on to the precious details of your own life story. As a brain doctor, one of the most heartbreaking conversations I have is with seniors who did everything they thought was right. They gave up cookies for fruit, soda for juice, and still, they find their cognitive world shrinking. They can't understand why. The answer, shockingly, often lies in the very healthy foods they trusted the most. Fruit. Yes, fruit. Every day, millions of seniors eat fruit, believing it's a pure, unadulterated gift from nature. And while many fruits are indeed powerful allies for the aging brain, some of the most common and beloved varieties can become silent saboteurs after the age of 60. When eaten in the wrong amounts or at the wrong times, they can spike your blood sugar more aggressively than a candy bar, stress your aging organs, and undermine the very medications meant to protect you. And the scariest part? No one ever warns you about this. Today, I am pulling back the curtain. I'm going to walk you through 7 of the worst fruits that could be secretly damaging your memory and raising your risk of cognitive decline, especially if you're over 60. Have you ever felt that despite your best efforts, your mind just isn't as sharp as it used to be? If so, what you're about to hear might be the most important nutritional advice of your life. Before we dive in, if you're dedicated to protecting your mind and aging with vitality, I recommend you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. You won't want to miss the insights we share here. If this video provides you with value, please let me know by typing a 1 in the comments. If it misses the mark, type 0. Your feedback is essential for me to serve you better. 1. Grapes. The sugar bomb in a tiny package. Grapes. Sweet, convenient, and utterly deceptive. They feel so light, so harmless. It's easy to sit with a bowl while watching television or reading a book and eat dozens without a second thought. They are marketed as a source of antioxidants, a healthy snack for your heart. But what if I told you that for someone over 60, especially those with even mild insulin resistance or vascular issues, a bowl of grapes can be like a sugar grenade exploding in your bloodstream, with shrapnel aimed directly at your brain? It's easy to forget that modern grapes, particularly the seedless varieties that dominate our grocery stores, have been bred for one primary purpose: extreme sweetness. Each little grape is a concentrated ball of glucose and fructose. When you eat a handful, that sugar is absorbed with incredible speed, causing a massive surge in your blood sugar levels. For an aging body, this is a 5-alarm fire. First, your pancreas has to work overtime to pump out insulin, and after 60, it's not as quick or efficient as it used to be. But the real damage happens in your blood vessels. This sudden flood of sugar causes a process called glycation, where sugar molecules stick to proteins, creating harmful compounds called advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. These AGEs are like rust on your arteries. They cause the delicate lining of your blood vessels, including the tiny capillaries in your brain, to become stiff, inflamed, and brittle. This neuroinflammation is a root cause of brain fog and memory loss. It disrupts communication between brain cells, and over time can lead to the death of neurons. Let me tell you about Mrs. Jeanette Morris, 80 years old, a retired school teacher from Missouri. She prided herself on living naturally. No soda, no processed food, always eating fresh fruits. Her favorite mid-morning snack was a generous bowl of red grapes. She'd snack on them while reading the paper, sometimes going through nearly 2 cups without thinking twice. Then one day, she noticed her vision blurring while writing a birthday card. Moments later, her hand trembled and she couldn't remember the word congratulations. Her daughter rushed her to the hospital fearing a stroke. It was a transient ischemic attack, or a mini-stroke. Her labs showed sharp sugar spikes around midday, and her A1C, a long-term blood sugar marker, had crept into the pre-diabetic range, something she never suspected. The constant sugar spikes from her healthy grape habit had been inflaming her vascular system for years, creating the perfect conditions for a clot to form. Here's what I want you to understand. Even natural sugar can be dangerous without context. When you're over 60, your margin for error is smaller. Grapes send sugar rushing through your veins. If you eat them alone, your body enters a state where blood thickens, vessels constrict, and inflammation rises. You won't notice it that day, but night after night it builds until the day it breaks. That's why I now tell my older patients, never eat grapes on an empty stomach, never by the bowlful. If you must have them, treat them like candy. Have a small handful, no more than 8 or 10, and always pair them with protein and fat, like a few almonds or a slice of cheese, to slow down that sugar rush. Because what seems like a harmless snack can, over time, quietly rob you of your memory and your independence. And if you think grapes are the only sweet danger, wait until you hear about the fruit that's been labeled heart healthy for decades, but whose mineral content could be creating a disaster for your brain when mixed with common medications. If you're still watching and finding this useful, please comment 1 below to let me know. Now let's move on to point number 2. 2. Bananas. The hidden potassium overload. As a brain doctor, few things disturb me more than when a food, universally praised as healthy, becomes a hidden danger for seniors. And bananas, believe it or not, are at the top of that list. You've heard it your whole life. Bananas are the perfect food. They're soft, easy to digest, a powerhouse of potassium, and even carry the American Heart Association's seal of approval. For a healthy person in their 30s or 40s, that's largely true. But once you pass 60, the rules of your own biology change dramatically, especially the way your kidneys, blood vessels, and heart handle sudden shifts in minerals. Let me explain this clearly. As we age, our kidney function naturally declines. It's a normal part of the aging process. They don't filter blood as efficiently as they once did. This decline is accelerated if you're already dealing with common senior health issues, like high blood pressure or diabetes, or if you're taking very common medications like ACE inhibitors, like lisinopril, or diuretics, water pills. This means that potassium, a mineral that bananas are loaded with, doesn't get flushed out as easily. Instead, it can begin to build up in your bloodstream, a dangerous condition called hyperkalemia. What happens then? It's a cascade of silent problems. High potassium can interfere with the electrical signals in your heart, causing an irregular heartbeat or arrhythmia. This irregular rhythm can allow tiny blood clots to form in the heart's chambers. If one of those clots breaks free, it can travel directly to the brain and cause a devastating ischemic stroke. You feel absolutely nothing until it's too late. I'll never forget a patient of mine, Mr. Raymond Carter, 66, a retired carpenter from Ohio. He was active, sharp-minded, and took pride in eating healthy. Every morning, he'd slice a banana over his oatmeal and take his blood pressure medication. It was a routine he'd followed for over a year. But one morning, his wife found him collapsed in the bathroom. He couldn't move his left side. At the hospital, scans revealed a stroke. His blood potassium levels were dangerously high, interfering with his heart rhythm and triggering clot formation. He had no idea that his heart-healthy banana, when combined with his medication and his aging kidneys, was tipping his body into dangerous territory. Here's the part that most seniors are never told. You don't need huge amounts of potassium from a single source, especially not all at once. One large banana can contain over 450 milligrams of potassium. That's enough to throw off your body's delicate balance if your kidneys aren't at peak performance. If you eat that banana at night when your circulation slows and your hydration dips, you create a perfect storm for clot formation. So what should you do if you're over 60, especially if you take heart or blood pressure medications? Limit yourself to half a small banana per day at most. Eat it in the morning and always with protein like Greek yogurt or nuts to slow the absorption. And most importantly, have an honest conversation with your doctor about how potassium-rich foods interact with your specific prescriptions. Your memory and your life may depend on it. Because the truth is, what used to be a simple, healthy choice may no longer be safe. And if bananas shocked you, wait until you hear what that guilt-free tropical dessert is doing to your brain while you sleep. 3. Pineapple, the acidic triple threat. There's something about pineapple that feels like a vacation in a bite. Sweet, tangy, tropical. Many of my older patients enjoy it as a guilt-free treat after dinner, believing it's light, natural, and packed with enzymes that aid digestion. But what most seniors don't realize, and what deeply concerns me as a neurologist, is how this fruit can become a triple threat to your brain, particularly overnight. The first threat is sugar. A single cup of pineapple contains over 16 grams of natural sugar, which causes a rapid spike in blood glucose. When consumed late in the day, that sugar spike isn't used for energy. It circulates while you sleep, creating inflammation and stress on your blood vessels at a time when your body should be repairing itself. The second threat is an enzyme called bromelain. In small amounts, it may aid digestion, but in excess, especially when combined with blood-thinning medications, it can interfere with blood clotting and platelet function. For someone over 60 with naturally more fragile blood vessels, this can create an unpredictable and dangerous imbalance. But the most overlooked threat of all is the acid. Pineapple is one of the most acidic fruits. For many seniors, this can trigger silent acid reflux at night. You may not feel the classic heartburn, but while you sleep, stomach acid can creep up your esophagus. This can cause microaspiration and subtle changes in airway pressure, which have been linked to reduced oxygen to the brain during sleep. This nighttime hypoxia increases the risk of early morning strokes and damages brain cells responsible for memory. I once treated a patient named Mrs. Clara Hughes, 77, a retired choir director from North Carolina. She was active, sharp, and deeply committed to eating clean. She replaced her usual desserts with a few slices of fresh pineapple after dinner. For over a year, this became her nightly ritual. Then one morning, she woke up feeling foggy and disoriented. A CT scan revealed she had suffered a small posterior circulation stroke affecting her cognitive balance and speech. Her blood work showed elevated glucose, signs of nighttime reflux irritation, and platelet irregularities. The culprit was the perfect storm created by her nightly pineapple habit, a sugar spike, acid reflux, and bromelain's effect on her blood. A fruit she believed was helping her nearly stole her independence. For seniors, digestion slows, vessel walls thin, and sleep becomes more fragile. Combine that with acidic high-sugar fruit at night, and you risk a cascade of problems while your brain is at its most vulnerable. So what's the takeaway? If you love pineapple, enjoy it earlier in the day, in small amounts, and never on an empty stomach. And absolutely do not eat it before bed. Your brain needs stability while you sleep, not a triple threat of sugar, acid, and enzymes. And if pineapple shocked you, wait until we talk about a fruit that many people eat to prevent overdose on other medications, but which could be doing the opposite to your brain. 4. Mango, the liver clogger and medication saboteur. To many older adults, mango feels like a luxurious, healthy treat. It's soft, fragrant, and intensely sweet. You'll find it sliced in fruit salads at senior wellness cafes or dried and packaged as a smart snack at the grocery store. The bright orange flesh seems like nature's perfect dessert. But for seniors managing heart conditions, blood pressure, or taking multiple medications, mango may be a silent saboteur, one that raises cognitive risk in ways few doctors ever mention. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Mango is one of the highest sugar fruits you can eat. Just 1 cup of ripe mango contains nearly 45 grams of sugar, more than the average donut. This causes a massive blood sugar spike that places enormous strain on the blood vessels in the brain. But the bigger, more hidden danger is how mango interacts with your liver. Your liver contains a critical enzyme system called cytochrome P450, which is responsible for breaking down and clearing out the majority of prescription drugs from your body. Mango contains natural compounds, particularly one called mangiferin, that have been shown to inhibit or slow down this enzyme system. What does that mean for you? If you are taking common medications for blood pressure, like amlodipine, heart rhythm, or cholesterol, statins, and you eat mango regularly, your liver can't clear the drugs properly. The medication builds up in your bloodstream to potentially toxic levels. It's like you're accidentally overdosing on your own prescription. This can cause your blood pressure to drop too low, especially overnight, reducing blood flow to the brain. It can cause your heart rhythm to become unstable. This combination of low blood flow and medication toxicity creates a high-risk environment for a stroke or for the slow, progressive death of brain cells due to oxygen deprivation. Let me share the story of Mr. William Booker, 83, a retired firefighter from Nevada. He was proud of staying active and had recently started eating dried mango slices every afternoon, thinking it was a smart switch from cookies. He was also taking medications for high blood pressure and atrial fibrillation. After a few weeks, William began noticing episodes of lightheadedness in the mornings. One day, he collapsed while getting out of bed. At the hospital, scans confirmed a minor ischemic stroke. Lab tests revealed his blood pressure had dropped dangerously low overnight and his medication levels were abnormally high, despite him taking the correct dosage. The culprit became clear. The daily mango had overloaded his liver, preventing it from processing his medications correctly. This is why I urge older adults to be extremely cautious with tropical fruits like mango, especially in their dried, concentrated form. The sweetness masks its danger. If you are on any prescription medication, especially for your heart, cholesterol, or blood pressure, you must talk to your doctor before making mango a regular part of your diet. It may not be right for you anymore. Because in our later years, our margin for error shrinks, and even a fruit can tip the balance. Now, if this surprised you, wait until we discuss the fruit that is the very symbol of summer, but which could be secretly thickening your blood while you sleep. If you're still watching, please comment 1 below. Let's keep going with point number 5. 5. Watermelon, the misleading dehydrator. It's hard to find a fruit more beloved in America than watermelon. Chilled slices on a summer day, the sweet crunch, the feeling of pure hydration. It feels harmless, even essential. But for seniors, especially those with underlying cardiovascular issues or on certain medications, watermelon can quietly tip the body into a state of danger, not through sugar or acid, but through a cruel irony. It can dehydrate you. It may seem impossible, but watermelon acts as a potent natural diuretic, meaning it makes you urinate more frequently. For a young person, this isn't a big deal. But for a 75-year-old with delicate circulation, borderline low blood pressure, or who is already taking prescribed water pills, diuretics, this frequent fluid loss can lead to overnight dehydration, one of the most dangerous silent triggers for both stroke and cognitive decline. Why? Because when your body becomes dehydrated, your blood volume decreases and your blood becomes thicker. Think of it like syrup trying to flow through narrow tubes instead of water. This thick, sludgy blood moves more sluggishly through your arteries, especially the stiffened, narrow arteries common in older adults. This gives it more time and opportunity to form clots. This is especially dangerous at night when your circulation naturally slows and your blood pressure drops. I remember Mr. Howard Larkin, an 82-year-old retired postal worker from Indiana. He was doing everything he thought was right, including eating 2 or 3 large slices of watermelon after dinner to, quote, stay hydrated. But he was also on a diuretic for mild heart failure. Between the medication and the watermelon, his body was shedding too much fluid overnight. One morning, he woke up with severe vertigo and collapsed when he tried to stand. At the hospital, his blood work showed signs of hemoconcentration, a clear marker that his blood had thickened from dehydration. Scans revealed a small ischemic stroke, likely caused by a clot forming in his narrowed arteries while he slept. His, quote, hydrating watermelon habit had, in fact, dried him out. I don't share this story to scare you away from watermelon forever. I share it because most seniors don't realize that even healthy foods become dangerous when they interact with age, medication, and timing. Watermelon eaten late in the day, especially if you are on diuretics, creates a hidden risk. Thick blood, low pressure, and slowed circulation are the 3 conditions that allow clots to form quietly and strike overnight, robbing you of your memory and mobility. So if you enjoy watermelon, eat it wisely. Have a small slice earlier in the day. If you're on diuretics, talk to your doctor before making it a daily habit. And listen to your body. Dizziness in the morning or waking up with a very dry mouth are not normal parts of aging. They are whispers of warning, because even a fruit that's 90% water can become a silent thief of brain health. 6. Oranges and orange juice. The vitamin C Trojan horse. Oranges have long been the symbol of health in American households. A glass of fresh squeezed juice with breakfast is seen as the epitome of a good start. For decades, they've been praised as nature's vitamin C miracle. But for older adults on common medications, oranges and their juice can act as a Trojan horse, delivering a chemical that silently sabotages your body's ability to process your prescriptions, leading to a state of instability that threatens your brain. The problem isn't just the sugar. Although a glass of orange juice can spike your blood sugar as much as a can of soda, the more insidious danger comes from a class of natural compounds inside citrus fruits called furanocoumarins. You may have heard of these in relation to grapefruit, but they are also present in other citrus, including the Seville oranges often used in marmalades, and to a lesser extent, in common navel oranges. Furanocoumarins interfere with that same critical liver enzyme system we discussed earlier, cytochrome P450. They block its ability to break down and clear certain medications, particularly statins for cholesterol, calcium channel blockers for blood pressure, and some blood thinners. This means that if you have a daily orange juice habit, the medication you take can build up in your bloodstream to dangerous levels. Your blood pressure could drop too low, your blood could become too thin, even your system becomes unpredictable. This instability is a breeding ground for both ischemic, clot-based, and hemorrhagic, bleed-based strokes. One patient of mine was Mr. Elmer Bryant, 79, a retired bus driver from Georgia. He had been taking a statin for high cholesterol and a medication for blood pressure. Every morning he'd start his day with a tall glass of freshly squeezed orange juice, his sunshine in a glass. But he didn't know that the furanocoumarins in that juice were preventing his liver from properly metabolizing his drugs. One morning, after feeling dizzy for several days, he collapsed. He was rushed to the ER with slurred speech and confusion. It was a mild stroke. His blood tests showed dangerously elevated levels of his prescription drugs, not because he took too much, but because the orange juice blocked his liver from clearing it. When I explained this to Elmer and his wife, they were stunned. "All my life I thought orange juice was good for me," he said, "and it was once. But the aging body is not the same. For those over 60, especially on medication, I now recommend eating oranges sparingly and never combining them with your pills. If you enjoy citrus, choose lower-risk options like clementines, or just squeeze a small splash of juice into water rather than drinking a full glass. Because the truth is, it's not just what's in your medicine cabinet that matters, it's what's in your fruit bowl. And if you think oranges are the only fruit with a dark side, wait until you hear about the one praised for arthritis that could be putting you at risk for a brain bleed. 7. Cherries. Nature's aspirin overdose. Cherries, small, beautiful, and bursting with color, have earned a reputation as one of the healthiest fruits you can eat. Doctors and wellness gurus recommend them for inflammation, arthritis, and heart health. But beneath their sweet taste and glowing reputation, cherries carry a little-known risk, especially for the millions of seniors who are already on a daily low-dose aspirin or other blood thinners. The danger lies in a natural compound found in cherries called salicylates, a blood-thinning substance that works in a very similar way to aspirin itself. While this can be helpful in moderation for seniors whose blood is already being thinned by medications like warfarin, Plavix, or a daily aspirin, adding more salicylates from food can push the body over the edge. It's like taking extra doses of your medication without realizing it. The result is blood that becomes too thin to clot properly. This dramatically increases the risk of a hemorrhagic stroke, a catastrophic bleed inside the brain. Most people never connect this risk to a simple fruit. It sounds far-fetched, but I've seen it firsthand. Let me tell you about Mr. Daniel Rhodes, 84, a retired train conductor from Illinois. He'd had a mild heart attack years ago, and his doctor put him on a daily low-dose aspirin to prevent future clots. Seeking to do even more for his health, he started eating a small bowl of cherries every night, having read they were good for his joint inflammation. At first, there were no signs of danger, but after several weeks, Daniel started experiencing persistent headaches and dizziness. One morning, he woke up confused and vomiting. His wife rushed him to the ER. A CT scan revealed something terrifying, a brain bleed, not from high blood pressure, not from a fall, but because his blood had become too thin to clot, and a small, fragile vessel in his brain had ruptured. His well-intentioned cherry habit, on top of his prescribed aspirin, had created a perfect storm. That's what makes this so dangerous. The effects are subtle and gradual. You feel fine until you're not. And once a bleed begins in the brain, it's incredibly difficult to stop. Here's what I wish more older adults understood. Even natural foods act like medicine inside your body. Your system at 70 or 80 isn't processing things the way it did at 40. So if you love cherries, please eat them mindfully. A few now and then are likely safe, but you must avoid cherry concentrate, juice, or large daily portions if you are on any medication that affects blood clotting. Always talk to your doctor before making something a regular part of your diet, especially something as medicinally active as this sweet little fruit, because what seems small can turn serious when it enters an aging body already working hard to stay in balance. Final reflection, the wisdom of eating wisely. After walking through these 7 fruits that can quietly raise your cognitive risk, you might be feeling confused or even a little angry. You've been told all your life that fruit is nature's perfect food, but the truth, especially for those of us over 60, is more nuanced. Aging changes everything. Your kidneys, your liver, your blood vessels. They all operate by a new set of rules. Your brain becomes increasingly sensitive to fluctuations in blood sugar, blood pressure, and inflammation. This is not about fear, it's about respect. It's about respecting your age, your body, and the incredible journey it has been on. The goal is not to eliminate fruit, but to choose wisely and consume consciously. So, what should you reach for? First, berries. Blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries are your brain's best friends. They are low in sugar, high in fiber, and packed with antioxidants that protect your brain's blood vessels. Second, avocados. Technically a fruit, they are rich in healthy fats that support brain cell structure and potassium that is absorbed slowly without the dangerous spikes. Third, green-tip bananas. If you enjoy bananas, choose ones that are still slightly green. They have less sugar and more resistant starch, which is better for your blood sugar and your gut health. And fourth, timing is everything. Eat fruit earlier in the day. Always pair it with a source of protein or healthy fat, like nuts, seeds, or yogurt, to slow down sugar absorption. And never eat a large portion of high-sugar fruit right before bed. You have made it to this chapter of your life through perseverance, wisdom, and care. Don't let a simple, unexamined habit, a fruit you never thought twice about, become the silent thief of your health. Every choice you make can bring you closer to vitality or further into risk. You are not just eating to live anymore. You are eating to stay sharp, to stay standing, and to stay you. Now I'd love to hear from you. Which of these fruits surprised you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video valuable, please comment with a 1. If not, a 0 is fine. Your feedback helps me create better content for this community. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. And here's to feeding your brain the future it deserves.